Welcome to Seniorship, conversations about getting the most out of later life. My name is Michael MacMahon. Our guest today is Heidi Patton, someone I'd never met before, but she was introduced to me by a friend. And Heidi has had a life which represents one aspect that I think is so important in later life, resilience. How she has responded to the really life-changing thing that's happened to her and her family is, in my opinion, admirable, as you will discover when you listen to the episode. Enjoy the show. Good morning, Heidi. Welcome to the Seniorship podcast.
Thank you.
And anyway, listen, I told you, normally I call people first just to check it's still okay.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, when the call connected, you couldn't hear me. Anyway, that's technology. It's wonderful when it works.
Exactly. I think it was my phone. My phone sometimes has a bit, Anyway,
okay.
It's all good. All good.
Well, listen, what I know about you is that you're a friend of Tim Arnold's, or at least a friend, acquaintance. You know, all these wonderful English words, something in between. Anyway, and that he spoke to you about what we're doing a while ago. And just to, if you like, reiterate that in a few words.
Yes, please.
We are interested in finding out what makes a happier and more fulfilled later life, and we want to do that by just talking to people and asking what is the secret from your point of view. And many people will say, and I will say, of course, there is no secret, but it's just from time to time we get insights that help people.
Okay. Yes, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Now,
That's
Heidi,
good.
first of all, simple stuff. Where exactly do you live?
I live in Barnes.
Barnes.
Yeah, Barnes of the fame of the broken Hammersmith Bridge.
It's still broken.
Oh yeah, well, it will be broken for at least another 10 years, and they're going on. If it ever open again, we don't know. Yeah.
Well, somebody, a well-known pundit on television, whom I will not name, who I normally don't agree with, there's a saying that I love, which is the time to make up your mind about a person is never. And to me, it's interesting because it's the reverse of how most of us operate. Most of us operate in a way that we make up our mind about a person very quickly, don't we? We meet somebody, we have an impression. Anyway, this person, who normally I don't agree with, said something very interesting. He said, you know what? He said, I've just been to the opening of Notre Dame in Paris, the reopening, when they rebuilt it. And he said, this is amazing. 5 years ago, the fire happened, and I thought at the time, oh my gosh, how long will it take to repair this? It'll take 20 years if they ever do it. They've done it in 5 years. He said, and he referred to Hammersmith Bridge. He then said, in the same period, he said, Hammersmith Bridge, they discovered these problems, these cracks or whatever it was, and the bridge is closed, and it's still closed. That was 5 years ago, and we don't know how long it will be. Meanwhile, the French have rebuilt Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, don't get me started on Hammersmith Bridge, because honestly, it is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But we can walk over it now. We can cycle over it. So that's a small bonus. But, still, it's just,
Good. Small mercy. Well, listen, I remember Barnes because when I was at university a long time ago, in the 60s, I was my college was in South Kensington. And the first year I lived in Barnes. I had digs, as we call, in Barnes. And so I used to get a bus up Castle Now, Castle Now? I don't know how you pronounce it. Up to Hammersmith Bridge, and then get a tube to South Kensington to go to Imperial. So I remember Barnes well.
Yeah. See, that's what we could do. We live very close to the bridge. And we had 5 bus routes going over the bridge through Hammersmith. Yeah. So going into town for us was, just walk around the corner for 7 minutes, hop on the next bus, and there you were, And now it's infinitely more complicated.
Oh, yes.
But anyway, especially when you're a bit older, Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh, but Heidi, you've reminded me. Maybe I should also get you on my other podcast, which is called "Don't Get Me Started," wherein I invite people to have a rant about things that really irritate them, or to enthuse about things that they like. You see, and that was my first podcast. Anyway, no, to keep to the point, seniorship. We're all
Okay.
about what makes for a happy and a fulfilled later life. And
Yes.
we're always interested to hear people's opinions.
Okay. So, well, where shall I start? It's a bit. I mean, as I told you when we were talking about that,
Yeah.
um, my life has been very fulfilled throughout. Because I'm Swiss. Just going back a bit. I'm Swiss. I was born in Switzerland. I was brought up in Switzerland. I was living there until I was 40, just about 42. And then I came over to England because I met Ed and we got married. And then I had my very fulfilled life over here. Been working for the same company for about 18 years. It's a coach travel company, so it was great fun. And I got to know England, well, the British Isles actually very well, because that was my job, to do planning tours for coach tours. So I got to know them very well and had great fun, and it was a really nice job. And then I sort of retired in 2018 because I thought, well, my husband is a bit older than me, so we need a bit of more time together. We've spent a lot of time together, of course. We always went on holidays and travels, even during my work time when I was working. I thought, well, maybe it's time now to stop, but just to spend a bit more time together, which was, in hindsight, actually a very wise decision because, well, we traveled that year. We went on holidays a lot. And then we had COVID, of course, so everybody was on furlough. So for me, that was not a problem. And then we discovered that my husband had dementia. So that was about during COVID. And he has been a lawyer, an international lawyer, one of the big international law firms. He was a partner there, senior partner when he retired. So a very intelligent person, but that's it, the disease doesn't stop at nobody. So slowly it became more difficult, and now my job is to look after him, really. We can't really travel very much anymore, but I look back on a lot of things that we have done together, and that brings joy. And we look together, we look at photographs, we try to reminisce and try to bring it back into his memory. So yeah, the joy for me is that we're still together. Obviously, he's still here, and we can go out. We have walks together. We just take it nice and easy, and yeah, just have fun and rejoice when the weather's nice, and do things together, which is now what we do. Yeah. So it's been a change, but life is full of changes, isn't it? It would be boring otherwise, and that's how it is. Yes.
Thank you, and
So,
and thank you for using that wonderful word joy, which I don't hear so often, and I wish I did hear it more often. People talk about things that give them
mm.
joy, and you talked about also about reminiscing, and are there special things that you find are useful to be able to talk to your husband about that trigger memories, for example?
Yeah, we can talk. Well, it's getting increasingly difficult, to be honest, because his memory really is not almost inexistent. Um, but we look at photographs, and then it triggers for a short while. It triggers things. He might not remember it, but he remembers people. So for looking at photographs of people years back, or
Good.
even new ones, that triggers something, and we can talk about that. Or I talk at him about that, because unfortunately his speech is not well anymore either. He can't really express himself clearly. So it's very difficult for him to say something. We can't have a discussion or anything, but I speak at him, and that's all right. It's still,
Yeah, yeah.
I have a conversation with him, and he remembers people's faces, and so that that is nice, and I can see his face light up when he does remember somebody. So it's very nice, and we can talk about holidays we had, and of course he doesn't remember, but it doesn't matter. He sees us, he sees the two of us together, and that brings him joy. Coming back to joy, so that's what we do. We go out a lot, we go for walks a lot. We have Richmond Park around the corner, which is a wonderful place to go for walks and, see the deer and just be out in the open and see other people. And what is an amazing bonus that we have, because of him, I started to play golf when I came to London. And I've become an addict. And because he stopped working, he's always been a golfer. Well, he's been a golfer in later life as well, not when he was very young, but he sort of was looking forward to playing more golf. And we still play golf together. And that is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And it makes our life, because we go out maybe 2-3 times a week, if the weather allows. Now it's a bit difficult. So we go 2 or 3 times a week. We have a buggy. We play golf. He still knows how to do that. So it's fantastic. And then we come back and we see people he knows, people we know. We have a drink there. We have a chat. And it's just a wonderful way to spend a day or an afternoon or whatever. So it's something that we do together, and it's really, really, really enjoyable. Really, really wonderful.
Oh,
because otherwise you sit at home. I know a lot of people sit at home and are just sort of, a bit left, and we can still do that, and that's a fantastic thing, really.
As you say, a lot of people do sit, sadly, and I read a book years ago called something like, it was called "Is Your Chair Killing You?" Something like that, along those lines. In other words, so with golf, you're getting exercise, you're getting fresh air, and that's wonderful. Something I wanted to ask you about was about reminiscence, and that is music. Are either of you into music at all?
Yes. Well, I was always into pop music, nothing classical music. Ed's been a lover of classical music much more than I have. So that has changed a bit. We listen to a lot of music. He loves playing music. He has a few favorites from the whatever genre of Ella Fitzgerald and that sort of, Nat King Cole and Ray Charles and all of that. And he knows how to work the CD player. So, Spotify doesn't really work very well, but the CD player. So that's great. So he plays his music. Unfortunately for me, it's often the same music again and again. So I have to laugh, and I'm thinking, no, not again. But hey, it gives him pleasure. So there we are. Yes. I can always leave the room and go somewhere else for a while. But that's what he does, and what we do a lot. Also, if I go away, for a while, I put some classical music on or something. So there's always music now in the house, and that is a big, big part. Thank you for mentioning that. There's a big, big part of his life now to listen to music, and he enjoys that. And we can dance to it as well. Dance through the kitchen.
Oh, that's fabulous. That is lovely. And,
yes.
Our mutual friend Tim used to be a very good dancer in his youth. I doubt he is these days, but he used to be a very good dancer. I remember he told me once he won these jive competitions, he was a kind of, I don't know if he was a national champion, but he close to that level, he reckoned, he said. But dancing is wonderful. And you got the rhythm and you got them. And the reason I mention music is because I live in Birmingham, and I live in a retirement village.
Yeah.
And so I have quite a lot of friends here who've got partners who have dementia. And so we often talk about this issue. And so I know, and I've read, and I can experience it too, that music is one one of the top memory triggers in the world. Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
know this, and interesting you mentioned pop music. You like pop music because I helped to run an event here, which we call the Jukebox Special. And we have a guy who is the DJ who's got hundreds and hundreds of of singles, 45s,
Yeah.
you know, the
Yeah.
45
Yeah.
RPM
Yeah.
records that we had when we were
Yeah.
younger. And
Yeah.
so we play those once a month. We play them, and people can dance if they want to. And a lot of people do dance, and that's
Yeah.
great. And these are all retired people. And best of all, they know all the words. They know all the words.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
for example, I never know, I never advance before. I'm the compere, you see, but I never advance, I never announce before the song what the song's going to be. We put it on, I might give a little hint or so,
Yeah.
and then I'll play it, and then I'll say, right, that was so and so. Who was singing? And everybody knows. And
Yeah.
everybody knows the words. They're singing along with it.
Well, that's fantastic. Yes, that's fantastic. Yeah, I don't think we're at that stage. He doesn't sing anymore. He's never really been a singer, but he always liked, the music. But what we do, and what is a fantastic thing, of course, because we're in London, is that we can still go to concerts. So we go to concerts
Yes.
at the Dog and Hall. That because theaters don't work anymore. We used to go to a theater a lot, really a lot, twice a month sometimes. So we can't do that anymore because it just doesn't. The conversation is too quick, and
Yeah, and
the
too
plot's
long too, I
too,
would
yeah,
have thought.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but we can go to Cadogan Hall, which is wonderful,
I know.
and
Yeah,
do that. And because we're in Barnes, Barnes is a fantastic place to live, honestly,
it
because it's
is.
got all these different societies, and one is the music societies, and it's going to be the Barnes Music Festival coming up. So you can do that, and it's just around the corner, which is wonderful. So it's just that's fantastic. So that's what we do as well. Go out as much as possible. Go out for dinner together, as well. It's also nice, have a change from home, or go
Yes,
to the pub
yes.
for a drink. It's just all these little things that you learn to do, which you haven't maybe done so much before, which gives a bit of a break in the monotony.
Well, I'm glad you
Monotony,
mentioned.
the monotony.
I'm glad you mentioned going to
Sorry,
the
Matt.
pub because that will be a point of common interest between you and me and our friend Tim because there's a big campaign at the moment which one of the newspapers is running called Save Our Pubs because
Yeah,
pubs are under some pressure. But
yeah,
you have
yeah.
a very famous one in Barnes and you say that your husband loves Ella Fitzgerald, Ray Charles, etc., etc., and you have a famous pub for jazz there. I'm trying
The
to remember what
Bull's
it's
Head.
called. It's the
The
Bull's Head.
Bull's Head.
Yes,
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 yes, yes. And
absolutely.
Alan Price plays there.
Does
And Alan
he?
Price is somebody who we know, actually. So there you
Wow,
go. So yeah, he still plays. Yes, he's still there.
that's
He
impressive.
plays.
I
He
saw
plays
him.
once a month, I think. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, he had a heart attack, quite a serious one, I believe. Well, I'm talking 20, 30 years ago, and I saw
Yeah.
him perform in Cheltenham. And it was a big show with half a dozen different stars of the 60s, etc., etc. And he told a wonderful story. He told how when he was in hospital after his heart attack, he was visited by another musician. I'm trying to think who it was. Mike Darbo was the name of the musician. He came to visit Alan Price, and
Yeah.
he said, Alan, I'm really sorry to hear about your heart attack. What's the prognosis? And Alan said, oh, it's not too good. It's not too good. And so Mike Darbo said, well, I brought you some flowers. He said, can I have your keyboards? Yeah, well, that's the British way, isn't it? Make a joke of it, really. Anyway, so
Yeah.
I'm so pleased to hear you
Yeah.
saying that he's still
Yeah.
playing
He
because
still he does. Yeah.
he was special. There was nobody like him.
No, he's not. And I mean, I haven't seen him. I meant to. We meant to go. We must go now. I always say, oh, we must go next time, next time, next time. But we must go. I saw him about 2 years ago there, and I mean, honestly, I couldn't believe the energy that man has. Unbelievable, unbelievable. And I think he's 84, 6, something like that. Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
interesting.
So
That's
anyway, yeah,
well, energy, and you mentioned that energy, doing what he loves because he was so good at it. And somebody once said, and I love this. somebody once said, if you can find what it is that you're particularly good at and use that to help other people, you're going to be happy.
Oh yeah,
You're halfway to
yeah,
being very
yeah,
happy.
yeah.
And clearly that's what he does. He had a
So
unique voice, didn't he? And that lovely accent from the northeast of England, which is where he comes from,
yeah.
and that musical talent.
Oh,
Well,
he's fantastic. Well, I mean, it's just that's one thing, you know, we're talking about what makes you what's the joy of later life or what makes you happy. And I listened to an interview before, so I knew what was coming, which you had with somebody, and he was talking about helping other people. And we have a wonderful charity here in Barnes as well, which is called Fish Neighborhood Care.
ah,
And they've been around for, oh, now I should know, 30, 40 years or
wow.
50 years, a long time. And it's exactly what it says, it's neighborhood care. And I volunteer for them. They have a mass of volunteers. And it's mostly older people who can't leave the house or whatever, you know, need a bit of help. And it's mostly shopping or driving somewhere. They have activities for them. So I do once a week, if I can, I help out. And it's a wonderful thing. Again, I think Jim Curry was it?
Yes,
You had
yes.
on the, yeah, and I heard that, and I agree with him. It's a wonderful thing. Just doing that once a week, you know, maybe a small drive from their home to the doctors or wherever to the center where they have the activities because they can't walk, or do a shopping for somebody once a week, you know, and yeah, the recognition and the gratefulness of these people to not I mean not working to be grateful to me, but to the whole organization who's been there and it works tirelessly. It's so nice, you know. And
Oh,
you go away for half an hour or an hour and you come back and thinking that was so nice because the people are so happy and it's needed, you know. We don't have the facilities otherwise. You can't expect somebody who's 84 to over an Uber to go 500 meters around the corner, you know, because it's too far to walk. So it's a wonderful organization, and I think the work they do is fantastic. And all the people, and I know, you know, when you talk to the people who do the volunteering, it really is such a rewarding thing to do. And it makes you
oh.
feel good, makes you feel good, makes them feel good, makes you feel good. It's fantastic, you know.
It's
So
good
there
to
you go.
hear. It's good to hear in
That's
your
what you have
voice.
in the retirement home as well, don't you?
Yeah.
When you come together and you see the people
Oh,
laughing and having fun and being just
yes.
having a good
Absolutely.
time, you
You
know, and
got
you
it.
facilitate that. That's just wonderful. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to hear in your voice uh, how much you get out of it. I mean,
Mm,
you're giving something, and you reminded me now. Yes, that's right. That interview, Jim Curry. I know you
yeah.
know him well, and yes, and he does a lot of voluntary work. And
Yeah.
the fact is, you don't do it to get appreciation, but the fact is, appreciation is the number one motivator, isn't it?
Yes.
Whether
Yes.
in professions, people in their working life, being appreciated for the job you do is even more important than money.
Oh, yeah. It's very, very important. I
Uh,
agree. I
uh,
agree.
and
Just a word, or you know,
yes,
it just needs a little bit, but it is. It's vital. It really is. Otherwise, you feel worthless. That's what it is, isn't it? Or unappreciated. Not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling if you feel
no,
unappreciated.
it's not a good feeling. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. Do you know what? And next time I speak to Jim, I will tell him that somebody appreciated that wonderful word again.
Yes.
Appreciated his interview. Yeah, and
Yes.
again.
Yes.
He's a guy like your friend your friend acquaintance Alan Price, who is full of energy,
Mm.
unbelievable energy, because he puts a lot of energy out there, and therefore it gives him energy. And
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
tell you're getting a lot of energy from the energy you're putting into helping this fish charity.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm,
It is.
hmm,
It
hmm.
is really. And that's the
Anyway,
small things in life, isn't it?
isn't it? It is. I One of the things they do here is we have a movie night here in this retirement village where I live. So once a week, somebody has to do it. Obviously, it's organised by the people who live here, and
Yeah.
so they choose the films and they get DVDs and play them. And a couple of weeks ago, they played a film called The Boat That Rocked. Now, I don't know if you've seen it, but
No.
you might enjoy it. It's about the early days of pirate radio. You see, in the
Oh,
early
yeah.
1960s, in the early 1960s, the BBC never played pop music, or
Yeah, yeah,
hardly
yeah.
ever. The amount of pop music they would allow was very, very small. And so what happened was these people set up this radio station on a boat outside British waters.
Yes,
And
I
so
remember.
for a few years there were two or three of these boats, and so the film, it's a fiction, but it's fun, and it's full of these people, these disc jockeys on the boat playing music and broadcasting, and showing the response of people all over Britain to
Yes,
listening to this music.
definitely.
And you see, the music is, and of course, the reason it went down well here is they were playing the records that we remember from our teenage years.
Of
And
course.
if you are into popular music, or were into popular music, you will know that those are the songs you remember most when you were developing your own taste in music, maybe different from your parents' taste. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course, of course. I remember it well because there was the same thing when I grew up in Switzerland. The radio station, I think it was once a week, we had an hour of popular, the pops of the tops of the pops or whatever,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and and the rest. And then I remember having a radio, one of these old radios in my room, and I could dial in to get one of the Radio Luxembourg or something by then. I think
Yes.
I established, and so get that music in and think, yay! I don't have to listen to Swiss music anymore. Yes, that was fantastic. That was
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's right. There's
Yeah.
something special about the music. And actually, it may well be that it's the same with your husband, because your husband's tastes are classical. Um, and he may well remember what were the recordings, the styles of music that, whether he's into, Baroque or classical or romantic,
Yeah, yeah,
whether he's into, symphonies or chamber music or opera, whatever it is, he'll remember probably when he first started to develop his own taste in music, which might have been similar to his parents. It might have been totally different from theirs.
yeah, yeah. I must have find out. I'll try to find out.
No, but as you say,
I mean, the classical music is something that definitely comes to his mind, which is whenever that started to be, he's gone to concerts, I know, for a long, long time, as they went to theatre and concerts. So
yeah,
that's
you
been there
said,
for a long, long time. So yeah,
yes,
that's why he
yes.
enjoys listening to these things. Yeah, to classical music and whatever what do you call it? I don't know, rhythm and blues.
Rhythm and
Ella
blues, yes,
Fitzgerald and all
okay,
that.
yeah. Well,
Stuff like that. Yeah,
listen, Ray Charles. You mentioned Ray Charles, and he,
yeah,
more than most people, he kind of straddled the genres, didn't he? And
yeah.
my hero, Duke Ellington, said
Oh yeah.
once, there are only two kinds of music: good music and bad music. In other words, he wasn't fussy about genre. Didn't matter, And so Ray Charles didn't worry about genre. So he
Yeah,
he put together, gospel and jazz and
yeah, yeah,
blues
yeah,
and everything. Anyway,
yeah,
enough about Ray Charles, because
yeah,
I
exactly.
could talk about Ray Charles forever, and I'm glad your husband has clearly good taste. But yeah, listen, I really love the fact that you are that there are tastes that you don't share and tastes you do share. For example, the golf, that you can dance. That's wonderful, and that you like going out and about, and that you live in a very pleasant place with parks nearby. You said,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah,
How
yeah.
far are you from Richmond Park?
Oh, so we take the car. We have to take the car, but it's 10 minutes for us. And we
Fantastic.
near Kew Gardens. That's another 10 minutes from
Oh,
us. So we've got all these things. We have Chiswick around the corner again, where there's a little park. So yeah, but we go to Richmond Park a lot and to Kew. That's sort of our big. And then we walk around the river. We're near the river as well. So
oh,
that's nice along the Thames when the weather's nice and when it's not too soggy or whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, we've got places to walk to, which is lovely. And we have the pond in Barnes as well. We have our own pond. There's a lot of green space where we are, which is gorgeous.
Excellent.
Without being in the country, without still being in the middle of London somehow.
Oh,
almost a
Sounds
million
sounds
something.
pretty good to me. I've
Yes.
good memories of barns. So thank you for this.
Thank you for
Listen,
having me. It was a pleasure to speak to you. Really was.
Heidi, it was a pleasure for me too. And thank you very much for coming on this on the Seniorship podcast.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
Bye
Take
for
care.
now.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.